Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio, Dee Woodson, and Michael Bullock. And guys, we got ourselves a loaded show here tonight. Not only are we going to talk about SmackDown live from the Thunderdome in Orlando, Florida, but we also are going to get into the preview of NXT Takeover 31, I should say. That's going to be coming up this weekend. So, with that said, we're just going to dive right in. We started it off with the promo segment by Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, and the Usos. So, we get into it. Nice little segment, really strong segment to start the show. Then we get into the first fight of the night, which was Jey Uso versus the phenomenal AJ Styles. Winner of the bout in 10 minutes and 34 seconds was Jey Uso, knocking off the phenomenal AJ Styles. Great match. Really good match. Solid fight. There's really nothing more to add here. I mean, this was a damn good match. Great way to kick off the show. The promo segment was solid. The match, I could give this about maybe 3 stars, 3.25. So, great. You could say this was a good 30 minutes of SmackDown we had here, Anthony Florio.
What was the time of the fall in that match again, Matt?
10:56.
10:56. Okay. I thought it was a little more, but all right. I 100% agree. Let me start with the promo segment here. This is a 2-for-1 deal. Let me break it down. Roman Reigns as a heel has been the revelation we have been waiting for from him ever since WWE strapped the rocket to his back. He is stepping up and becoming one of the best characters in all of WWE. The performance by Jey and Reigns in this segment was awesome. This storyline is one of WWE's most intriguing and engaging because it involves family drama. This segment was another chapter in the story they are telling, and if they continue to make every segment this interesting, Reigns will quickly become one of the most popular heels in all of professional wrestling. There is no question about that. And I'm going to have more on that in just a moment. But as far as the match goes, this was, I 100% agree, MF. 3.25 to 3.5 stars. There were 2 matches on this show that were both really good. This was one of them. After the segment we saw at the top of the show, this was a great follow-up. AJ Styles is known as one of the top wrestlers in the world, and that makes him a valuable asset when WWE wants to put somebody else over. Jey Uso has been thriving for the last few weeks, and he looked great in the ring against Styles. They do not have a ton of experience working together, but when you have as much experience as these two, developing chemistry with someone becomes easy. This wasn't designed to be a showstopper or a show stealer, but it ended up being a great back-and-forth fight. Both guys had their moments to shine, but it was Jey who came out of this looking like a threat to Roman Reigns. And guess what, folks? We're getting a rematch. We're going to get a rematch, Hell in a Cell, Universal Championship. But notice what Roman said. High stakes. The biggest stakes for Jey Uso. I think we all know what this means. And Michael Bullock and I, we had our SmackDown chat this evening, and we both agreed. And MF and Didi, I'm sure you're probably going to agree with us. There's only one match. There's only one thing that has big stakes. And I think it's Hell in a Cell.
They're going to hell.
Can you think of anything else that's more high stakes than that?
Yeah. Universal title locked in that sadistic chamber. That is sadistic cell. Yeah, there's nothing more to add there.
Yeah. So that's what we said. So there's no question about it. It's not often I say this, but co-fight of the night for the AJ and Uso match. And the segment is also one of the segments of the night as well. This was a very good show, minus a couple of things. But other than that, I mean, and those 2 things, I'm hopeful, MF, you don't make us go through because they're not worth mentioning. But as far as this is concerned, this was worth it, every bit of it. This alone made the show fly by so fast, and it was amazing. 1 minute it's starting, and then the next minute it's over. It was a well-paced show here this evening. So 3.25 to 3.5 for the match, and the segment was one of the segments of the night. Absolutely. So there's nothing more to say. Phenom, Michael Bullock, come on in. We talked about it during our Smackdown chat this evening. There's only one match. There's only one thing. When Roman says high stakes, it's got to be Hell in a Cell. We both agreed on that.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be Hell in a Cell. I mean, there's no, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. No doubt in my mind. I mean, this is the only match that could, where, the only kind of match where you could settle something like this. So, yeah, the promo was really good, and yeah, I agree. With as the weeks gone by, Roman Reigns is definitely going to become one of, if not the top heels in WWE, and that the IWC have been clamoring for a long, long time. And boy, howdy, they're really getting it, and I think it's definitely worth the long wait. And as far as the match goes with AJ Styles and Jey Uso, 3.25, 3.5 stars. I agree. I mean, it was a nice bounce back win for Jey Uso, maybe to give him some momentum going into Hell in a Cell against Roman Reigns again. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with the rating on the match. This was definitely the one of the best ways to start SmackDown because you're building off of the pay per view. You're building that storyline that is so crucial right now, especially leading into the Hell in the Cell coming up. You know, this was just it was a great promo. They did a great job. Whether or not you want to believe what Roman says in it or not, that's a whole different story. But I mean, he did a great job delivering it and showing just how much of a heel he can be. Yet at the same time, making the threats to his cousin, but also saying, I love you. You're your family and all this stuff. So I mean, it was good. The match was a little surprised to see AJ come out for the match, but the match was great. They did a good job. They worked pretty well off of each other, so I don't have a whole lot more to add. So it's yours, Fletch.
And I know what Anthony Flair was alluding to the two matches that he didn't want to talk about, which is gonna blow. I'm gonna blow right by it with no problems. Otis versus John Morrison. Otis wins the match in 1:56. And then we had Sheamus versus Chad Gable. Sheamus finishes that one in 58 seconds. So nothing more to say. One thing we will get into, KO show with Kevin Owens. His guest this week was Alexa Bliss. And there was a lot of stuff that he was talking about, and well, Anthony, this kind of got very interesting. KO and the Fiend.
And I'm about to say something that's going to make you very happy, MF, in just a moment. But first, let me get into my thought on this. After two dud matches in a row, WWE brought the show back up with an awesome segment featuring Alexa Bliss, Kevin Owens, and The Fiend Bray Wyatt. The transformation of the goddess into the Fiend's muse has been a joy to watch. She is killing it with every performance, and The Fiend has been equally good in his segments. Kevin Owens is so good that he can recover from an attack like this in no time. If he ends up getting drafted to SmackDown, The Fiend might even be his first rival. If that is the case, it is smart for WWE to start setting it up now instead of waiting until the big draft show next week. And that show is already loaded. My gosh. But what I'm going to say to MF is I think I can easily see Kevin Owens getting drafted back to SmackDown. I could easily see a Kevin Owens versus Fiend feud. You know what I've been preaching about for many years. Fresh matchups. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the main event scene. It can be in all of the company altogether. The Fiend against Kevin Owens? How could you not be interested in that? How could you not be? Think about it. So this was another segment of the night. Absolutely. Very good here. I mean, there's nothing more to say on this. Michael Bullock, I mean, Kevin Owens and The Fiend. I mean, I could easily see KO getting drafted to SmackDown and starting a rivalry with The Fiend. Absolutely. And on top of that, could you think of a better way for SmackDown to bounce back after those two dud cutout fights?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, this was another very good segment here. I mean, yeah, I mean, Kevin Owens said some things, and then Alexa Bliss basically said, "You never know when the Fiend will show up." And as soon as she said, "Let him in," I was like, "Oh boy, he's about to arrive." And he arrived and put the mandible claw on the Fiend, and we're not gonna have to wait. We're gonna get the match next week. The Fiend and Kevin Owens on what will be night one of the WWE draft. So yeah, I mean, I could definitely see this being a rivalry if KO gets drafted to SmackDown. But we'll wait and see come next week. So there's really nothing more to say. DD Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, this was definitely. I would say this was the segment of the night. I mean, it even for me it beat the Roman segment. You can go as far back as the break or the backstage thing where Kevin Owens was getting ready for the show, and all of a sudden the little SmackDown monitor behind him, you start seeing the Funhouse uh, opening, the video for it, and I almost knew right then and there we're going to have something going on with the Fiend, and not sure what it was. Just knew since Alexa was his guest that somehow the Fiend was going to get involved. Now that he's given KO the mandible claw with the hurt glove, and we know everybody who gets that with the hurt gloves changes in some way. Let's see now, whether he does stay on Raw or whether he comes to SmackDown, how he's going to change. What is going to be the new KO after this? Because this is going to be a very interesting storyline, to say the least. And definitely Alexa Bliss, oh my goodness. I mean, you could tell she was not completely herself when she came out there. And I think the transformation is almost complete, where she is now going to be that female Fiend type character. So I mean, this was awesome. Love the whole segment. And there at the end, I mean, her taking his hand, that right there shows that she is now officially completely his. So nothing else I'm going to add this year's Fletch.
And the other thing that you talked about the hurt glove, you talked about Kevin Owens and what type of impact that's going to have. Think about this. We haven't seen John Cena since. We haven't. Seth Rollins went from being one of the biggest names to one of the biggest heels, a martyr. You could say Roman in a way, kinda. I don't know if Roman he did kind of mix with the Fiend, and look at where he is. If Owens does get it mixed up with the Fiend in that hurt, I mean, we already know Kevin Owens in the past was one of the most diabolical heels in WWE. I mean, remember the infamous in NXT, the first night in NXT where he power bombed Sami Zayn right on that ring apron, the hardest part of the ring. So I mean, if we get the old Kevin Owens back, If we get the fight Owens back, oh boy, that might be bad news for everybody in WWE. That could be bad news for SmackDown if he comes our way. I hope he does. I would love to have KO back. But we'll see next week. Alright, so with that said, we'll move right along. 6-man tag team fight we had. Lince Dorado, Matt Riddle, and Gran Metalik goes up against Baron Corbin, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro. And the face team wins the match in 6 minutes and 56 seconds. Michael Bullock, I give it to you, my friend.
What was the time of the fall, Fletch?
6:56.
All right. This was a fine match in the short amount of time it did get. I'll give it about maybe I'll give it 2 stars for the effort here, but boy howdy, I mean, we continue to see Kalisto and Lince Dorado basically continuing to shove. I mean, the thing is, I mean, we keep wondering, when are we going to see the breakup? When are we going to see the breakup of the Lucha House Party? Because we've been clamoring for it, and yet we still haven't seen it. But all in all, it's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's just a matter of when. We don't know when. So, Fletch, it's yours. Oh, Dee Wilson is yours. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, this was definitely about 2-star match. Definitely, you could see the implosion going on with the Lucha House Party. I mean, the beginning of the match when they had the pre-interview before they went out, he wasn't even there, and then he comes out during the match. He gets involved in the match. He attacks, possibly on accident, one of the other members, but still, you can see it falling apart. It's that it's going to go from a trio down to a duo pretty soon. It's just one of those situations that looks like it's going to be unavoidable. And here Matt Riddle's out there trying. He wins the match, yeah, but then has to try to stand in the middle to stop these guys from just tearing each other apart. And it was kind of odd to see the tag team champions involved in this match, but at the same time, they've had the little thing going on with Lucha House Party lately too. So yeah, I don't have too much more to add. Like I said, it's about a 2-star fight. So it's yours, Fletch.
2-star fight. I think everybody played their role pretty well, so I think it was a very good thing. And yeah, I think it's definitely legit. I think because with the draft coming up next week, next Friday night is night 1 of the draft. I'm very, very, very sure we're gonna get the Lucha House Party will indeed split up. How is it gonna split up? I don't know, but I do believe that maybe 1 or 2 members might be heading to Raw. One might be heading to will stay on SmackDown, or they might just split them completely. One goes to NXT, one goes to SmackDown, one goes to Raw. That's very possible. So, I mean, we'll wait and see how it plays out. But, with these call-ups, with this stuff going on, as of now, we've heard it's only just Raw to SmackDown, SmackDown to Raw. There is no NXT call-ups coming up. That doesn't necessarily mean there will be. But as of now, we haven't heard anything of any NXT talent getting plucked and raided to come to the main roster again. Like we said, the last person that got plucked was Keith Lee. Now, if you want to talk about Retribution, all right, I'll give you that if you want to believe it. If you want to say, well, what about for the Retribution guys? Didn't they get plucked? All right, I guess we can say that. We'll give you that too. So we'll wait and see what happens. But yeah, 2 stars, Anthony. It's yours.
2 to 2.5. I mean, the match was all right. It kept two different storylines going, but didn't do much to advance either. We already knew Riddle and Corbin hate each other, and we already knew Lucha House Party was having issues. The action was fast paced and had some fun moments, but the match didn't have much in the way of a steady pace. It was all over the place at different times, but that had more to do with how much time they were given than anything else. These are six good performers who did their best to make a somewhat pointless match seem important. You know what? I'm gonna agree with you guys on this. 2 stars. That's really the best I can do. So really nothing more to say. MF, we had it was boss time after this.
Hold. Not yet. We finally got the reveal. For the weeks of.
Mystery woman.
For weeks, we've been wondering who this mystery woman is. We finally know it. The internet was right. They were spot on the whole time. It was indeed Carmella. She cuts a promo, said that she wasn't our princess anymore. She blamed the efforts. She blamed her efforts to please the fans for her past failures, and said that this time she's untouchable. What's that gonna mean? What's that gonna look like? And remember, because of the fact that it doesn't necessarily mean she could be heading to she could be heading to Raw next week because of the fact that yes, the draft is coming. So she might be on SmackDown one week, could end up on Raw the next. We shall see. And now, yes, it was boss time. She cutted a very scathing promo, called Bayley a coward that needs to keep her title, and used her for her accomplishments and achievements. She did admit and recognize her as the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion. And said that she wasn't there because she was afraid of her. Sasha said next week that it was going to be her and Bayley one-on-one, and for the thing that she loved most. She said no one can save her now, that she didn't stand a chance. I'm not going to say that word. She took off the neck collar, so basically she's back. She's at 100%. She's ready to go. And from what I've heard, the SmackDown Women's title will be on the line. Title on the line. Bayley, Sasha, draft night next week inside the Thunderdome on Fox. Didi Woodson, that's the hype, man. It's all yours.
It's about freaking time we get this match. I mean, how long have we been building this up? I mean, they give us teasers and teasers and teasers of Sasha wanting to turn on Bayley, or Bayley, and then finally we had the breakup where Bayley did finally turn on Sasha. Now we're finally getting the payoff. We're finally getting the match. We're finally getting to see what we've been having to suffer all this time with the so-called best friends and their little BS stuff that they were doing. We're finally getting that payoff, and I mean that was one of, I think, Sasha's best promos she's done in a long time. She did a great job. She got to the point. She definitely, put Bayley in her place from all the times that Bayley has come out there and said, this, that, and the other, and did the cheap shots from behind with the chair and all that kind of stuff. It's about time, Sasha's got her moment now. She's come out there. She's laid it all on the line. This is what we're doing, and she made that point. She drove it home. Bailey has nobody in the background to help her. She's on her own. She's got to try to do this by herself. And I'd like to see them pull into this match that if Bailey uses that chair, she automatically loses the title. I think that should be something they would throw into it, but they haven't yet, so it is what it is. But I'm hoping one of these matches coming up, that's something they throw in there, that if she tries to do a cheap win or she tries to get herself disqualified, she loses the title. That's the one thing that makes the best sense for this whole thing to play out with. It may not happen on this match, may happen in the future. We'll see. Cheers, Fletch.
The one danger thing that I'm worried about is because it's draft night next week. What if Bailey has somebody? What if somebody aligns with Bailey? You don't know. That's the unknown about this whole thing. And I don't believe this is going to be the end of the war between Sasha and Bailey. I don't think so. I think it has to end in Hell in a Cell. But the thing is that there's so much uncertainty going into next week. And obviously this match had to happen. One way or another, we had to have this. We're getting it now. That's great. I'm excited. I'm thrilled. This is amazing. Sasha was money tonight. The boss acted like a boss. And there is nothing to say about this segment of the night for me. Other than the Roman Reigns area, which was amazing and excellent, this one blew the box out of the place. And trust me, man, we're in a baseball fever, man. That was a home run here tonight, and Sasha crushed it. Bostonian style, man. She put that over the monster. That wasn't in anything. That's up in the Massachusetts Turnpike right now. That ball ain't coming back. So, Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Back, choo choo. That's all there is to say on that. So, yeah. Shades of Mark McGuire in that home run derby in '99 at Fenway, which was the greatest display we ever saw. But story for another day. But anyways, yeah, the boss was money tonight, absolutely. But I'm with you, MF. I mean, it's great that we're gonna have the match next week, but in the immortal words of Jesse the Body Ventura with the mega powers, I smell a rat. I don't think it's going to get settled next week. I don't think we're going to get the big money moment next week. I mean, I could see this honestly being more of an angle than a match. Honestly, I really can. Because MF, you nailed it. The only way we can settle this is inside Hell in a Cell. And I've even read a dirt sheet. Bullock has read it too. The dirt sheet going around is that not only is the plan for Bailey and Sasha to meet inside Hell in a Cell at the pay-per-view, but then to also be the main event of the pay-per-view as well. So, I mean, I don't mind building to it, but the thing is, do you really want to give away such a match like this so soon? You got to save it for Hell in a Cell. You have to. I could see this being more of an angle than a match, honestly. I don't think anything's going to get settled. So I could see Bailey taking the cheap way out. I don't think they're going to do that, Didi. I mean, I don't see them going with your theory there. The only way the only conceivable way for Didi's theory to come true is for Hell in a Cell. That's it. So
That was my point, that they won't do it next week, but that's about the only way that they're going to probably get that title off of her is that way, because she's going to cheat to win.
Exactly. Or get herself intentionally disqualified or counted out with the steel chair. And then that should set up the big money match. I mean, Hell in a Cell, that's the big money match. You got big money on the table. Come on, Vin, man. Don't blow it. There's a reason why you're only a millionaire and not a billionaire, pal. Simple. So give us what we want. We want to see it inside Hell in a Cell, not on free television. Although it is cool, but don't give the big money moment away here, unless they're planning on moving one of them to Raw. That's the only reason I could see this going down. That's the only way it could go down. So I don't know, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. But if you're gonna do it inside Hell in a Cell, and then give us the big money moment of Sasha winning the title. Simple. So great segment here, no doubt about it. I mean, another highlight of, I mean, everything, like I said, was a highlight tonight, except for those dud enhancement fights. But other than that, nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, the boss is back in your good graces. You admitted that to me earlier this evening during our SmackDown chat, and I think this promo tilted her in more of your favor there. So your fellow Boston girl there, Bullock, she brought it tonight.
Yeah, she definitely brought it tonight. I mean, yeah, I mean, what else can you say? This was definitely the segment of the night here, hands down. Yeah, this is yeah, the boss certainly looked like herself tonight, and basically said, you know what, Bailey, I'm coming for your title next week. So yeah, and I'm with you guys on this one. I mean, I smell a rat with this one, guys. I mean, something's gonna go down. I mean, and I agree with Florio. I think this is gonna be more of an angle than a match here. So we'll wait and see how it all plays out, because, like you said, this rivalry has to go down at Hell in a Cell. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out next week. So there's nothing more to say except let's move on, Fletch.
Main event of the show for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Sami Zayn, versus the challenger, Jeff Hardy, the winner of the bout. In 14 minutes and 5 seconds. And still, the Intercontinental Champion, Sami Zayn, Lame Duck Man, whatever you want to call him, he's still your champion. What a match. Great way to close the show. Yes, I get it. I know a lot of people are going to be yelling about, oh, but it was a chicanery win. Look, not everything is going to be sunshine and roses. I think we all know his style. We all know his attitude. We all know what Sami Zayn is about. This was a great match. This was a solid match that both men got to work. Yeah, I get it. I know a lot of people are going to be about, oh, but the finish. Look, if you start poo-pooing over a finish like this, then I can't help you. I'm not going to help you on this. This was a great way to close the show, and it also builds the rivalry. It's not over. Obviously, Hardy and Sami definitely could continue on. I hope both these guys stay on SmackDown, because right now, SmackDown is killing it. We're doing great now. We finally got our legs under us, and we're starting to look like the SmackDown when Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon started the show when the draft began all those years ago. When Raw was on the decline, SmackDown was on the rise. It's starting again. I'm feeling it again. This is like 2016 all over again. SmackDown, please, we need to build, get better, get stronger. Give us some real big time talent next week, and then hope and pray we don't get absolutely annihilated when Raw gets their night on the thing. Hopefully we don't get punished here and they start bleeding our talent out. I would be furious. But man, what a way to close it. This was to me one of the best fights of the evening. 3.5 stars. Anthony, it's yours.
I'm with you, MF. 3.5 stars. Between this and the AJ Uso match, I really don't know which one to put over, but maybe by a smidge, I go with this one. I mean, this was a solid follow-up to the great ladder match these two were in at Clash of Champions with AJ Styles. Hardy and Zayn are both the kind of veterans who can make any match they are in entertaining, and this was no exception. For two guys who were in a very physical encounter on Sunday night, they competed like they were at full health. It speaks to their level of passion for this business. Zayn won by using his wits and a little bit of cheating, so Hardy still looks strong despite the loss. And MF, you read my mind. Let's hope they both end up on the same show after the draft, because this is a feud that could go for a couple of months before losing steam. And you're absolutely right. And right now, SmackDown is definitely on the rise, and Raw is on the decline. Although Raw is slowly getting better. I mean, we still need a lot of work, but this is why SmackDown's better than Raw right now, because of the pacing. They don't do too much too fast. They let everything marinate and simmer, unlike Raw, where they have too many cooks in the kitchen and they give us this and this and this and this and this. SmackDown knows what to do. They slow it down. And that's what I love about SmackDown. And that's why SmackDown is better than Raw right now. It pains me to say it, but it's true. So, MF, you have every reason to be encouraged. So, that's all I can say on that. So, and I have every reason to be discouraged because of Raw. But I could see the draft playing out, like last year. You remember last year we had Stephanie McMahon announcing all the picks for SmackDown and Raw on both shows. I wouldn't be surprised if they go that same route again this year. I wouldn't be surprised. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait until next Friday night, which is a damn shame. I mean, they can't get here fast enough. So that's really all I can say on this.
But no, Anthony, what I heard is that it's going to be like the past. Basically, whoever shows up, if they were from Raw, they're on SmackDown. I think that's what they're going to do. We won't see Stephanie. We won't see any authority figures because remember, it's going to be on both nights. We got a draft for SmackDown and a draft for Raw. So right. I think it's going to be like the year that we went to Providence where we literally found out that night who SmackDown got in that draft. I think that's how it's going to play out.
Fair enough. But we'll have to wait and see what they actually do decide come next week. But that was just my little thought on it. But I'm excited. I mean, I know MF is excited to see who's going to go to SmackDown, as am I. I can't wait to see who Monday Night Raw ends up getting, and I just hope at the end of the day Raw ends up getting the better talent than SmackDown does. So there you go. I had to get my lick in there. So, and believe me, we need it because we're struggling, and that's not a good thing. That's a bad thing, a very bad thing. I do not want SmackDown showing up Raw anymore. I want it to be the other way around, and hopefully the draft will be the start. So, all right, now that I got that little mini rant off my chest, 3.5 stars, fight of the night, no question about it. So, nothing more to say. I mean, I know these next two individuals are gonna do what they did on Sunday, and they're gonna poo-poo all over this. So, Michael Bullock, I'm sure you're gonna go. I'm sure you're gonna go into your vintage Byron Saxton mode. So, hit us with it, Saxton.
No, you're not gonna hear it tonight, Florio. So, if you were expecting it, sorry, not gonna happen. 3.5 stars. I mean, I agree. This was definitely the fight of the night. I mean, this rivalry has been really good. I mean, yeah, you could say what you want about the finish. I don't like it, but as you guys said, this is what makes Sami Zayn who he is. So, yeah, I got a feeling that this is far from over between these two. So, there's really nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, I can agree with the rating, and yeah, I'm not a fan of the cheap wins, but compared to Sunday night, this was story based, basically kind of storyline driven for him to take the turnbuckle off because he did it at the very beginning of the match before the match even started. So I mean, it was thrown in as a storyline. It's not something where he just cheaply went to his bag, pulled out a couple of handcuffs, and did the little legal cheat way out. This was something completely different, and so yeah, I mean, there is ways of pulling off the cheat and not getting the heat from it, and then there's ways of, like Sunday, when you pull off the cheat and everybody's going to crash down on you. So yeah, this one, I'm okay with this one. Was not okay with the other one. This one's a lot better, storyline based, and when you are the champion after you've won the title, and you're the heel, you're going to do what you're going to do to win, and that's what he did. He took the turnbuckle off, and there for a long time they both tried to keep from going into the turnbuckle, the exposed buckle, but in the end, it is what it is. Sami Zayn walks away, still the champion. So, like I said, I agree with the rating. Not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Fletch.
All right, so it's now time for the overall review. Anthony Florio, you lead off. Give us your thoughts as I set up for the NXT.
You ready to be encouraged, MF? You're going to be very encouraged when I drop this on you. This was an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 show this evening. We only had 2 cutout matches. Both of them were duds, obviously. But other than that, everything on this was solid to good to great. I mean, we had one solid match, which was the 6-man tag. Solid but not overly spectacular. We had 2 very good matches in Sami Zayn and Jeff Hardy, and AJ Styles and Jey Uso. Both of those were really good. And then several really good segments. We had 3 great segments. The Roman and Jey Uso segment, the Kevin Owens show with Alexa Bliss and The Fiend. Sasha's promo was very good. And yeah, I mean, a great follow-up to the Clash of Champions. And I mean, when it comes to next week, I mean, you got a loaded show next week. I mean, you got Big E and Sheamus in a Falls Count Anywhere match. You got Kevin Owens going against The Fiend. We're going to see Sasha and Bayley for the Women's Championship. We'll see how that goes. Otis is going to go to court with The Miz and Morrison. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a spectacle. And then everything with the draft. I mean, who's gonna end up going to Team Blue? And will MF be encouraged or discouraged? We'll have to find out. This is his show, so we'll have to wait and see. And I'm going to give you one small little nugget here, one little spoiler, if you will. As much as I would love to have, Carmella, I would love to have her on Raw, especially with this Mystery Lady angle. Great song, by the way, Billy Ocean. Love that song, Mystery Lady, off his Suddenly album. Awesome. Listen to it. It's beautiful. But anywho, I don't think the Mystery Lady's going anywhere. I think she's staying on SmackDown, and it's all because of Graves. Graves is going to do everything in his power. He's going to use his influence to keep Mella on SmackDown. I would love to have her on Raw. Abso-freaking-lutely, especially this new look Mella. I would love it. But no, MF, your boy Graves is going to keep her. She's going to be staying in the pound here. So that's all there is to say. So 8 out of 10, brilliant, another brilliant SmackDown here. And oh my goodness, next week, can't get here fast enough. I can't tell you how excited I am about the draft. I mean, I'm praying that Raw does better, but we'll have to wait and find out. So 8 out of 10 for me, nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, with the exception of those 2 dud fights, 1 solid match, 2 very good matches, 3 very good segments. That's an 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, that's definitely an 8 out of 10 for me as well. I mean, yeah, with the exception of of those 2 matches, I mean, everything else I really enjoyed. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to add to it. So, Dee Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, it was definitely 8 out of 10. If you want to compare Raw to SmackDown for this week, I would say SmackDown won it. I'm not even going to get into Wednesday night because Wednesday night for me was just not very good. But yeah, SmackDown knocked it out of the park tonight. They did a great job. Great. Yeah, we had two, you know, dud matches, but other than that, I mean, this was an awesome show. They took it to the limits. I'm not looking forward to the new Carmella gimmick because I'm thinking may come off as Eva Marie 2.0, or when they tried to repackage Emma. I'm afraid it's going to come out like that, and I'm not looking forward to seeing that if that's how it's going to come out. So we'll see what happens. The draft's going to be fun to look forward to see where people um, end up. So yeah, I have nothing more to add. So it's yours, Fletch.
All right, guys, and now it's time to get into the preview of NXT Takeover 31 going down on Sunday night. Sunday night from the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. 5 matches on the card, and we're going to start it off with something that I think this was just added recently, guys. Kushida going one-on-one with the Velveteen Dream. I'm going to go with the Velveteen Dream. I don't think... I mean, Kushida is done pretty well, but I still believe that they're going to give Dream the hook here, so I'm going to go with Velveteen Dream to win the match. Anthony Florio, it's all yours.
Yes, and I want to address real quick that starting this Sunday and going forward, NXT, not only is NXT going to be at the Performance Center, but starting with next Wednesday's show, they're going to go back to live shows. So there's something to look forward to right there. So nothing more to say on that. So I respectfully disagree with you, MF. I actually have Kushida winning this match. The hope here is that Velveteen Dream's refusal to move on from his issues with Kushida is simply to get Kushida a nice, high-profile win on TakeOver to position him for a possible run at the Cruiserweight Championship. They could, of course, make a mistake and have Dream come out with the win, but I'm going to go with what I feel would be the correct booking decision here. So I'm going to go with Kushida to win this match. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, your show's going to the Performance Center, and starting next Wednesday and going forward, they're going to be LIVE all the way live.
And I cannot wait for that. So, yeah, I'm actually with Florio on this one. I'm going to go with Kushida to win. I mean, you just had him come back and continue this rivalry, and only to have him lose, especially to a guy who's gotten major heat on NXT. No, I think having the Velveteen Dream win would be the wrong move. Kushida winning to me is the right move. So, Dee what's next yours?
Yeah, I think Kushida is going to win this one, so not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Fletch.
We're going to move right on along with one of the first of 4 title matches on the fight card. First, the NXT Cruiserweight Championship of the World on the line. The champion, Santos Escobar, putting the title on the line against Isaiah Swerve Scott. Anthony Florio, you've been very high on Santos Escobar. He's about to put the title on the line on Sunday. Does he successfully defend it, or do you see a new champion in Isaiah Swerve Scott?
I see a successful title defense, MF, and you're damn right. I mean, I'm not just high on Escobar. I'm also high on the cruiserweights. You've heard my positive reviews of 205 Live over the last couple of weeks on my Tony's Take on Ridiculously Raw. But all right, had Scott and Breezango not picked up a win over Legado del Fantasma in a street fight the week before TakeOver, I would be going with a title switch here. That momentum swing changes things. However, by feeling like it gave the babyface the visible, meaningful win that you normally give with the pay-per-view title change. Now it feels like it's Escobar's turn to pick up a cheap win and see if they can stretch out this feud a little bit longer or simply move along to a feud with Kushida. So that's really all I can say on that. Winner and still your NXT Cruiserweight Champion, Santos Escobar. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I got Santos Escobar retaining the title. I mean, there's really nothing more to say. You pretty much touched on it. So, Dee Whitson, it's yours.
Escobar. It's yours, Fletch.
I agree. Santos Escobar, winner and still champion. Next up, we got is for the NXT Women's title, the champion Io Shirai versus Candice LeRae. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, the last time, obviously, these two had a little bit of a rivalry. Io Shirai was the heel, and Candice LeRae was the babyface. But now things are all switched up with Candice LeRae now being the Poison Pixie. So I like what I mean. Io Shirai's had a good run with the title, and I think taking it off of her, I think would be a mistake. So it should be a good match. So to me, winner and still the NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be Io Shirai. I think they need to work on Candice LeRae just a little bit more before they give her the title. So it's yours, Fletch.
Oh man, this is the toughest of all the decisions of the week. But I'm gonna say this: I could see Candice win the belt. I could see Candice winning it all. Could it happen? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It's gonna be a tough call, but I'm with you guys. For now, I'm gonna agree, and I'm gonna say Io wins. But I would not be shocked if Candice walks away with the gold. So, Anthony Florio, it's all yours.
Make it unanimous. Candice LeRae could well leave TakeOver with the NXT Women's title, but this result feels directly tied to the result of the North American title match. Can Gargano and LeRae both walk out of TakeOver 31 as champions? All that said, I'm not sure about Priest dropping. More on that in a moment. And that feels like it takes a chunk out of LeRae's odds of winning the belt here. So, and especially after the visual that we saw as we went off the air Wednesday night on NXT on USA. What was the visual? Both Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae holding up their respective titles. I smell booking 101 both ways. Winner and still NXT Women's Champion, the genius of the sky, Io Shirai. Make it unanimous. Nothing more to say. MF, let's move on to that North American Championship match.
It is going to be Damian Priest putting the title on the line against Johnny Gargano. Anthony, I think you kind of tipped your hand. I believe you might have tipped your hand. I'm going to tip it anyway. Damian Priest still's the champion. I believe right now Gargano. Look, I think sooner or later you give the belts to Gargano at a bigger event. NXT TakeOver 31, I don't believe is big enough to do a title change. And plus, Priest just won the belt. I think it would be a major disservice if he loses the North American title this quickly. You know, after the way that he won it at NXT TakeOver 30, yeah, you can't take the belt away from him just yet. I think he'll successfully defend the title. Winner and still champion, Damian Priest. Anthony, it's yours.
Amen to that, MF. You're absolutely right. Johnny Gargano is always a threat to capture a title in NXT, but it simply doesn't make sense to move the belt off of Priest yet. Priest won the title at the last TakeOver in August in that unforgettable ladder match. So taking it off him so early into his reign would seem to do more harm than good for someone on which the promotion seems high. Gargano is bulletproof in NXT. He could go on a 200-match losing skid a la Kurt Hawkins, alias Brian Myers in Impact, and would still feel important and relevant given all he's done for the brand. So there's nothing more to say on this. Winner and still the NXT North American champion, Damian Priest. Nothing more to say. So Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, Damian Priest to me is gonna retain the North American Championship. I mean, I think it's just too soon to take the title off of him because, I mean, you just won you just had him win the title, and now all of a sudden you're gonna drop it. That to me would make no sense. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. Winner and still NXT North American Champion. It's Damian Priest. So yeah, Dee Woodson, it's yours.
I'm going to make it unanimous, so it's yours, Fletch.
Main event of the evening for the NXT World Title. The champion, Finn Balor, versus the challenger, Kyle O'Reilly. Anthony Florio, who walks out with the belt?
This should be a tremendous match, bell to bell. But it doesn't come with much drama in terms of who is going to walk out of the event as NXT champion. Finn Balor is still young in his reign. You know, he just won the title on that second Super Tuesday NXT when he outlasted Adam Cole. And O'Reilly is the ultimate steady hand, but not the guy you hit your promotion to, given how he has been presented over his time in NXT. Lack of drama on a winner aside, this should live up to the legacy of great NXT championship matches at Takeovers past. This has show stealer potential, but there's only one way for this to end. Winner and still the NXT champion, the Prince, Finn Balor. Agree? Wouldn't you agree, Michael Bullock?
I agree wholeheartedly. Winner and still the NXT champion, Finn Balor. There's really nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Finn Balor. It's yours, Fletch.
Matt, are you there?
Sorry about that. And all right, that puts a bow on the show. So tomorrow night we got ourselves NFL Saturday, 15 games. Yeah, you heard me right. 15 games, guys. One got knocked off the schedule. Tennessee and Pittsburgh not happening. COVID-19 ran amok on us and ran right through the NFL, and boy, did it lay some lumber on us.
We have a new date. We have a new date for that game.
We have a new date. Florio will get into that tomorrow. We'll do that tomorrow. So we'll get into that tomorrow. And then on Sunday night, like we said, we're going to do a recap of NXT TakeOver 31. Monday night, Anthony once again will be taking over as we will be focusing on Ridiculously Raw, Monday Night Raw. And if there's a Tony's Take, we'll do it then. And that's it, guys. So until then, have a good night. For Anthony Florio, for Dee Woodson, for Michael Bullock, I'm Michael Fletcher. So long, everybody. We will see you guys tomorrow night. Bye-bye.